Peace is expensive. War is profitable. It's not a slogan. That's not an opinion. It's a financial reality baked into the global system. If peace really paid, why does every ceasefire come with a stock market dip? Will every missile launch send certain stocks ripping higher? If war is so destructive, why do budgets explode after conflicts begin? While schools, hospitals, and infrastructure somehow can't be afforded during peace? Here's the real mystery. Who exactly is making money when everything is falling apart? Because someone always is. Today we're not talking about morality. We're not talking politics. We're talking incentives. And once you understand the incentives, the wars stop looking random and start looking predictable. By the end of this video, you'll see why wars don't break out. They're financed into existence. Before the first bullet is fired, before the first explosion lights up the night sky, before the first headline screams breaking news across your screen, the money moves first. It always has. It always will. Wars don't start with soldiers. They don't start with speeches. They don't even start with hatred. They start quietly, in offices, on spreadsheets. Inside balance sheets most people never see. Because war doesn't begin on the battlefield. It begins in the accounting department. Go back far enough in history, and you'll see the same pattern repeat over and over again. Different flags, different uniforms, same math. Wars require credit. Credit requires banks. Banks require returns. And here's the uncomfortable part nobody likes to say out loud. Returns don't come from peace. Peace is slow. Peace is boring. Peace doesn't spike quarterly earnings. Peace is capped margins. Peace is predictable demand. Peace is maintenance, not expansion. Wall Street hates that. War is a blank check. War has no spending limit, no expiration date, no accountability until it's too late. When politicians say national security, markets hear guaranteed revenue. A simple but uncomfortable truth piece is efficient. And efficient systems don't burn money fast enough. Efficient systems don't need emergency budgets. They don't need massive rebuilds. They don't need constant replacement. Peace means things last longer. Infrastructure stays standing. Supply chains stay intact. From a human perspective, that's a win. From a profit perspective, that's a nightmare. War, on the other hand, is inefficient by design. Nothing lasts. Everything breaks. Everything needs to be rebuilt. Broken bridges, destroyed cities, wasted equipment, scrapped vehicles, blown up power grids, and then construction contracts, defense upgrades, security spending, emergency funding. That's not failure. That's repeat revenue. And this isn't new. Let's rewind. Way back. Before stock markets, before central banks, before global currencies. Back when kings ruled by sword, but paid with debt. The early blueprint in medieval Europe, wars were expensive, insanely expensive. Armor, weapons, horses, mercenaries. Kings didn't have that kind of cash lying around, so they borrowed. Not from peasants, not from soldiers, from merchant families, from early bankers. The Medici, the Fuggers, private financiers who understood one thing very clearly: war creates leverage. Wars were risky, sure, but when they paid off, they paid huge. Interest rates during wartime? Absolutely brutal. If the king lost the war, the people suffered. The bankers still got paid. If the king won the war, the empire expanded, and the debt expanded with it. Same playbook, different century. The British Empire perfected IT by the 1700s. Britain figured out something revolutionary. They stopped funding wars with royal gold. Instead, they issued government bonds. Regular citizens funded wars. Banks underwrote wars. The empire expanded on leverage. War wasn't just a military operation anymore. It was a financial product. And when the war ended, the debt didn't disappear. It stayed, compounded. It became policy leverage. This is the moment war stopped being an event and became a system. Fast forward to the 20th century, 2 world wars changed everything. Not just because of the death toll, not just because of destruction, because of scale. World War I. The financial awakening. World War I wasn't just trenches and tanks. It was central bank coordination, war bonds sold directly to civilians. Industrial production going into overdrive, entire economies were rewired overnight. Factories that once made tractors started making tanks. Steel plants pivoted to weapons. Supply chains became militarized. And here's the key detail most people miss. When the war ended, those factories didn't shut down. They pivoted again. Weapons became products. Conflict became continuous demand. World War II didn't just end with victory parades. It ended with institutions. NATO, IMF, World Bank, permanent military alliances. This wasn't accidental. It was structural. President Eisenhower warned about it in his farewell address, not because he hated the military, but because he understood the math. When your economy depends on defense spending, peace becomes a recession. Recessions lose elections. Here's the part nobody likes to admit. War stimulates GDP. Not because it creates real wealth, because it creates activity. Why war boosts economies on paper when a missile is fired. GDP goes up, manufacturing spikes. Jobs are created, stocks rally, but nothing productive was built. No new wealth, no new capacity, no improvement in living standards. It's like smashing your own house. And calling Reconstruction economic growth, that's the scam. And Wall Street eats it up. Defense stocks don't care about morality. Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman. These companies don't lobby for peace. They lobby for budgets. Every conflict becomes a slide deck. Every threat becomes a justification. Every headline becomes a funding request. And Congress? Congress doesn't cut defense budgets. They just rebrand them. But here's the thing. Can only push the bill so far down the road. Eventually, it shows up. Endless war creates endless debt. The U.S. didn't pay for wars with savings. They paid with borrowed money, printed money, deferred consequences, trillions spent, interest compounding, returns concentrated. The public gets inflation. The system gets richer. Veterans pay the real price. War profits don't go to soldiers. They go to contractors, banks, defense executives. Veterans get underfunded healthcare, delayed benefits, broken systems. That's not a mistake. That's cost optimization. Part 6. Fallout. Who really pays for war? War doesn't destroy wealth evenly. It redistributes it upward. Inflation is the hidden war tax. You don't get a bill labeled war fee. You get higher food prices, higher rent, higher energy costs. That's how wars are financed now, not through votes. Through purchasing power erosion. Destroy a city, rebuild, contracts follow. Destroy infrastructure, public partnerships show up, peace preserves. War replaces. Replacement is where the margins live. Every time a war ends, leaders promise. Never again, and every time it happens again. Why? Because nothing changes the incentives. Treaties don't kill profit motives. Peace talks don't dissolve supply chains. Ceasefires don't cancel defense contracts. Reconstruction becomes the new battlefield. Different phase, same money flow. The cycle always restarts: tension, media amplification, budget expansion. Conflict, reconstruction, debt growth, inflation, repeat. Different country, same script. Now let's talk today. Modern wars aren't just fought with tanks. They're fought with sanctions, cyber attacks, currency weapons. Supply chain control war went digital. Profits scaled up. Financial warfare is cleaner and more profitable. Freeze assets. Cut trade. Control payments. No boots on the ground. Same outcome. Economic destruction creates dependency. Dependency creates leverage. Leverage creates profit. Here's the pattern nobody can unsee once they see it. Defense stocks outperform during instability. Peace dividends never materialize. Debt never goes down after wars. Reconstruction always costs more than prevention. War doesn't fail. It delivers, just not to you. So why is peace expensive? Because peace requires long-term planning, preventive investment, lower consumption, fewer emergencies. Peace kills urgency. And urgency is how money moves fast. War creates instant justification, instant budgets, instant power, instant profits. Peace requires patience. Markets hate patience. 3 takeaways. Takeaway number 1, war isn't chaos. It's structured. The destruction looks random. The money flow is not. Takeaway number 2, peace doesn't pay shareholders. War does. Till incentives change, outcomes won't. Takeaway number 3, if you don't see the profit motive, you are the cost. Inflation, debt, lost futures. That's the real battlefield. The most dangerous wars going forward won't be announced. They'll be financed quietly, explained later, and paid for by people who never voted for them. The question isn't whether war will continue. The real question is, who will finally make peace profitable? If this changed how you see global conflict, hit subscribe. If you want deeper breakdowns on money, power, and hidden systems, stay here. Because the real wars aren't fought with weapons. They're fought with numbers. And now, you see them.